Thanks for watching Ben Television. The program is You Decide, and we still have in the studio the indefatigable, very, very controversial Reno Omokri. Let me just thank you for spending the time, because I know you've always been on the move and you have time for us today. In the studio right now, like I promised, we have Lady Yemi Akinola. Lady Yemi, you are welcome to the program.
Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, viewers.
And the last but not the least, we have Gossin Azu, a man from Petersburg. Gossin, you're welcome to the program.
Don't tell people where I come from.
Are you scared?
Don't let them send DSS and MI5 and all those guys to start looking
In fact, Yemi, I'm scared to have Gossin and Reno on the same side. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Reno in the last 1 hour. Before we go on, do you have any question for him before I ask him some other questions?
Yes, okay, let me start. I listened to the conversations you had with Doctor, and I've also listened to some of the people that have phoned in. You mentioned that in your book you preferred solutions because, as we all know, everybody knows Nigeria's problems. We know what the challenges are that we're facing at the moment. And 2019 elections is coming up. All sorts are going to start happening. There's a lot of underground work and gimmicks that are going to be playing out. What solutions, or what do you think is the core solution that you think would propel Nigeria forward at this point? Taking from your book, as like you said, that you did prefer solutions.
Okay, now, so there are two major challenges with Nigeria right now. You got the security, and then you got the economy. So I'm going to focus the solutions that I gave on those two challenges. Now, there are 150,000 Nigerian policemen guarding VIPs. 150,000 Nigerian policemen guarding VIPs. As a matter of fact, you remember Leah Sheribu? Leah Sheribu, because my latest book is on Leah Sheribu. Her father was actually guarding a VIP in Yola when Boko Haram were abducting his daughter. So we have 150,000 policemen guarding VIPs. Now, I suggested that Muhammadu Buhari should strip the VIPs of those 150,000 policemen and then have them go and guard the poor people. And that those VIPs, they are being well paid and they have a lot of money. They should go and hire private security to guard themselves.
But they are not allowed, private security are not allowed to carry guns.
You can have a license to carry guns in Nigeria. Now, when I gave that solution, 3 weeks after I gave the solution, the Inspector General of Police actually, to his credit, announced that he was actually recalling the 150,000 policemen from VIPs. But unfortunately, a week after I gave the order, President Muhammadu Buhari countermanded that order, and so he had to issue another directive saying that, well, the 150,000 policemen should go back. Now, that's what I'm telling you. This man is thoroughly inept. Now, for the economy, if you want the economy to succeed, you had Emefiele, who was the governor of the central bank.
Sorry to cut you.
Let me finish your questions.
The security that you're talking about, you're saying just recalling the policemen is going to be the solution to security issues?
You asked me for solutions, so I'm giving one solution. This is a program. I can't give all the solutions, so you got to allow me land. So that's just one solution. You got to allow me land. Now, for the economy, Godwin Emefiele was the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria under President Jonathan, and he did so well. The reason why he did so well is because there was no interference from the president in the CBN. And under the CBN Act, there's actually meant to be, the CBN governor is actually meant to be independent, except maybe he commits a grievous offense before the president can sack him. So now, when you have a president who has a military background, but doesn't have any economic background, saying that he is going to interfere publicly, you're giving an interview to CNN, you're giving an interview to Financial Times, you're giving an interview to Reuters, and you're saying you are going to interfere with the CBN, you're going to peg, you're going to set the value of the naira, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. What's going to happen is that investors who are already in Nigeria begin to see that, well, no, we can't stay here. That was why there was a massive capital flight out of Nigeria. And then investors who wanted to come into the country will say, no, we can't come. And that's why they did not bring, that's why the foreign direct investment into Nigeria has almost dried up. Meanwhile, foreign direct investment in a small country like Rwanda is really growing faster. Now, another solution I will give for the economy. Listen, in Africa, intra-African trade is only 18%. That means among African countries, the only 18% of their trade is amongst each other.
Yeah.
In Europe, 70% of their trade is intra-Europe, is among each other. From this country, even though you're doing Brexit, from England, England does 43% of our trade with other European countries. So now, what we need, Paul Kagame promoted the African Free Trade Agreement. Muhammadu Buhari refused to sign that agreement.
He said the Nigerian businessmen asked him not to sign it.
No, that's not true, because the chambers of commerce came and said that no, we want it. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who is probably the biggest farmer in Nigeria, said we want it. I'll give a very good example. 2014. Africa as a whole, the whole of Africa, particularly East Africa, but the whole of Africa made $2.4 billion from coffee. That's a large amount, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that same year, Germany imported the coffee from East Africa and made $3.8 billion on refining that coffee and reselling it. So you see, look at that. The whole of Africa as a whole made $2.4 billion.
But Germany, one country.
Of coffee. Germany doesn't produce coffee. They don't grow coffee. They bought that $2.4 billion worth of coffee, refined it, and made $3.8 billion. Now, East African countries, because 2 weeks ago I was in Kenya, and then I went to Tanzania, and then I went to Mozambique. These countries, they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have probably the investments, the capital to refine their coffee. A man like Dangote is the single largest foreign direct investor in some African countries in East Africa. A man like that can help them. So rather than take that coffee to Germany, that man can really help them build infrastructure in their country.
Let me quickly ask you a question. All these solutions, when people like you prefer them to Nigeria, does it penetrate the government? That is anybody taking them seriously to now say, look at what they're saying, let's take it forward? Is there a way these solutions can be taken over?
Well, I can only say what happened while I was in government. Muhammadu Buhari is a person that doesn't listen. He actually, you remember what he said? He said that he doesn't have to listen to his ministers. It took him 6 months to appoint ministers. 6 months, and in that time, the economy of Nigeria collapsed. But I'll give you some very good examples. While I was there, we gave advice to President Jonathan, and to his credit, President Jonathan listened to it. If you remember, before I came into government, I was very close friends with Malam Nasir El-Rufai. We're very close, and Malam Nasir El-Rufai and I came up with a business competition where we said that Nigerian youths, this was in 2010, we set up a council for youth empowerment. We said Nigerian youths should write in business proposals, and then we'll set up an independent panel to look at the business proposals, and then they will give monies to the best 2.
Yeah.
And then we promised a cash prize of $5,000 to the best 2. Eventually, we ended up giving them $10,000, double what we promised.
Just 2.
One of them is in Asaba. His name is Ikechukwu Anthony Ndibe. He set up a poultry and is now a millionaire.
Wow.
Now, so when I came into government, we gave that advice to President Jonathan, and that's how YouWin came into being. That is Youth with Innovation in Nigeria. And you don't forget, according to the World Bank, in the whole world, more than America, more than Turkey, as YouWin is the most successful business innovation contest in the whole world, according to the World Bank. It's 10 times more successful than Turkey's version. It is 7 times more successful than Mexico's version.
Are we not following it?
No. They didn't follow up with YouWin. Jonathan left, and then they just allowed YouWin die a natural death.
Gustin, you've been listening to Reno. You have any question? Or you want to contribute? Feel free.
Yeah, one point is contribution, one point is a question. I do admire the level of Reno's knowledge of the Nigerian system, probably based on the fact that he was part of that system at a point in time, and also for the fact that most of what he said today, he's saying it with some references to certain...
Not most, I think all of them. I've not said anything without a factual basis, not most, all of them.
To past evidences with regards to such issues. It is apparently very, very unfortunate that many Nigerians are still believing that there is, quote unquote, a Messiah in place to deliver Nigeria from the absolute darkness that is hovering around the country.
And who are the people, notable people who believe in Buhari as this Messiah? I mean, let's just break it down.
There are so many notable people. The likes of Oshimole still believe that without Buhari, there won't be any Nigeria anymore. The likes of Fayemi still believe that Buhari is the answer to the generational cause of Nigeria. The likes of El Rufai believe that Buhari is the only answer to deliver Nigeria from the evil forces that are trailing Nigeria. But the truth remains that when a Messiah comes, it does not take years to see his hands of deliverance.
Jesus is the only Messiah, and it took him 3
well, I don't know. People,
it took him 3.5 years.
People call anybody a Messiah now once you perform one miracle.
You have a question because we have a caller.
So the question I have for Reno is this. It's a straightforward question, and is what is his deep perception of the kind of politicians that we still have in Nigeria?
Across parties.
Across parties. Who still believe that, quote unquote, they are most likely the real Messiah.
Okay.
From the actual Messiah.
Let him quickly answer that. Then we'll take on Kenneth. Kenneth, just hold on a moment.
Well, I'll tell you what, there is no Messiah. If you want a Messiah, you have to die and believe in Jesus and make it to God's kingdom. As long as you have men in power, you're going to have imperfect systems. But having said that, I'll tell you something, and don't take my word for it. If you're at home, I want you to Google this. I actually speak in facts. I don't speak in opinions or fiction. When President Jonathan handed over power to Muhammadu Buhari, Forbes magazine, they listed that's in 2015, the richest people in the world, and Dangote was number 25 in the whole world, number 20 in the whole world, I believe, and he was worth $25 billion. Today, as I speak to you right now, Dangote is now worth $12.4 billion. In other words, his fortune is now less than 50% of what it was under Jonathan. Now, this is not me assessing it. This is Forbes magazine assessing it. Now, so that tells you the amount of contraction of our economy. It tells you the amount of contraction of our economy. One fellow called and said that Muhammadu Buhari was fighting corruption. I mean, that's so silly. $25 billion worth of contracts were awarded at the NNPC without due process. No investigation, nothing was done. They just buried that under. Look, under the PDP, the biggest thief ever, the biggest thief, single thief, was a man called Abdul Rashid Maina. Abdul Rashid Maina was sacked and dismissed from the Federal Civil Service by President Goodluck Jonathan, declared wanted by Interpol. This man was recalled, reinstated, and given double promotion, and according to Junaid Mohammed, given armed guards by the Muhammadu Buhari administration. A certain joker and clown by the name of Festus Keyamo goes around saying that, he's not going to blame Buhari, he's going to blame Buhari's appointees, because when Buhari found out about it, Buhari ordered that the man should be sacked. Look, Festus Keyamo is just being clever by half. He's just a manipulative talker. Look, the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, a woman called Mrs. Eyo Winifred Etta, she said when she heard a rumor, there was a leaked memo. The leaked memo, you can actually read the leaked memo online. Google it. She said when she heard the rumor, before it had been done, she went to a Federal Executive Council meeting, and then she relayed with President Buhari because she did not seek audience with him. And then she ambushed him and told him, look, what you are about to do, if you are going to do it, is wrong. Do not do it. It's going to affect your integrity, your so-called integrity as an anti-corruption person. This was even before the man came, before he had been recalled, before he had been restated. So President Muhammadu Buhari knew about it. Now, what happened? After Premium Times leaked the story, what happened? The Nigerian Senate said that they were going to investigate how it was done. What happened after that? Buhari's Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation went to court to obtain an injunction to stop the Nigerian Senate from looking into it. Look, the Executive Secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme was indicted. I'm not saying that, I was indicted by the Minister of Health for 10 billion naira fraud. 10 billion. Muhammadu Buhari was in London. They sent people to London to go and report the minister to him. As soon as he came back, he ordered that the man, who is a Fulani, by the way, the same tribe with the president, to be reinstated. Can you imagine that? And you're saying that this man is fighting corruption. Look, in this year's budget, which they've passed, 1.1 billion naira to sweep the National Security Advisor's office. 86 million naira to cut the president's hair. I know how to cut hair. I cut my children's hair. The president should call me. I will cut his hair and save Nigeria 86 million naira.
Okay. Let me call it. I never know. I think I need some cut. Kenneth, are you still there, Kenneth? Oh my God, studio, help me. Can you move around with your phone? Kenneth, we love to take your call, but the reception is not the best. Okay, please change your position. Maybe they will get your reception. Let me read you a few. You have to be ready for some of the emails I've taken.
Not a problem.
They are ready to give it to you.
No problem.
This is from Joseph Adelanwa. Reno, you are a liar. You think we are daft. Your talk about 10 million jobs during Buhari time. Can you tell us what caused these job losses? The government you are supporting for 16 years didn't provide dividend of democracy to Nigerians. No any basic infrastructure on ground to show for you want Buhari to perform miracles in just 3 years? What I will tell Reno is that election is about numbers, not these lies and character assassination of Buhari. We will meet in 2019, God's grace. That's Joseph.
Okay, no, can I take the questions?
Maybe you'll be happy with this next one.
No, hang on. Let me take this, then you read that. So
okay.
Okay, now he said that I've been lying and that the government I served and then other PDP governments did not build, he used very bad English, any infrastructure. And I think he means they did not build any infrastructure. The single largest and most expensive infrastructure in Nigeria in the last 20 years is the super-fast 187-kilometer Abuja-Kaduna Railway. That project was conceived of by President Olusegun Obasanjo. It was started by President Jonathan, and it was completed by President Jonathan, fully completed in December of 2014. Fully completed. Muhammadu Buhari did not do anything to that project. He came and then he commissioned what he did not build. President Jonathan, he built 14 new universities. 12 of them were regular universities, federal universities, and then 2 of them were specialized universities. He built 165 Almajiri schools. 165 Almajiri schools. Now, President Jonathan never was coming to the United Kingdom for healthcare. His children, while he was president, schooled in Nigeria. This is the Nigerian president. They all schooled in Nigeria. Yet, he built 5 new hospitals. And he built 132 health centers all around the country. Muhammadu Buhari has been coming to the United Kingdom because he feels that Nigeria's health sector is not very good. Name one hospital that he has built in Nigeria. And you are saying that Jonathan did not...
Let me take Kenneth. Kenneth is back with us. Kenneth, are you there now?
Hello?
Okay, go on. We're waiting.
Can you hear me?
Hearing, loud and clear. We can hear you.
Hello?
We can hear you, Kenneth.
Yes, actually, I just want to contribute to the program, and all I want to say is there are 2 things to talk about. The young man in the studio, I think Reno is his name, was comparing President Buhari and Jonathan, and he was endorsing Atiku to be the best, who is running recently. But I can tell you categorically that truth is always bitter. All the young man has been saying is actually truth. And I can tell you that if you want to compare, people like this, it's from their past. And I can list a few because of time. When you look at the killings that is happening in our country as we speak, it can never be compared with what happened during Jonathan's administration. And I can tell you again, Jonathan was handicapped. He didn't know how to go about things. That was why it took him so long for him to do anything. Because they were saying that this is an attack to a certain group of people in the country. So he didn't know how to go about it. Now, while the convention of APC was going on, in Jos, I don't know if you know what happened. A lot of life has been lost. And that is why a lot of people are even saying that it is good that Nigerian super egos lost their mark so that we can even attend to what is in our domain. Now, if you look at all the sectors in our country, you will find fault in one area or the other. Are we going to talk about the police recruitment? Are we going to talk about the dam? What are we going to talk about? Or loss of jobs? Now, when you look at the people running, I wouldn't even endorse people in any form or manner because they are all the same. How about people coming up? Let us give the young ones a chance. Like Alistair, we have seen what he has done in Europe. We have seen what he has done in Europe and all. In fact, it is only when you are told that he is the chairman of Ben TV that you will know. He's somebody that is humble, and I believe he knows the Lord. All these people that have been ruling us, they don't have the fear of the Lord. That is the problem. Anyone that does not have the fear of God has got no conscience.
Thank you, Kenneth. Time is not on our side. Edupoku Augustine wrote, PMB has no plans for Nigeria, and so Nigerians should quickly realize this. PMB is not the Messiah to take us to the promised land. His deceptive war on corruption, his alleged strong strength, has been an abject failure. David writes again. He said, please, Dr. Johnson, get this man off your channel. He's putting people off Ben TV and wouldn't like that. I'm sorry, David. You must learn to listen to other people's opinion. We can't get him off because you two, you have your own opinion. So we'll take all opinions. Sorry about that. AY1, the killings in Nigeria are beyond pathetic. I'm a supporter of Buhari, but not APC, because the party, like most in Nigeria, are full of people with questionable character. Similarly, if your guest was in the Jonathan's government, then definitely he has nothing to offer Nigeria. However, Buhari or APC have failed as far as Nigeria's current situations are concerned. Progressive people need to take over and move the nation forward. For the statistics that Nigeria had overtaken India in extreme poverty, the source of the information did not tell us the other side of the story. They did not tell us that millions of AK-47 and mortals from America, Europe, and Asia are in the hand of terrorists and bandits in Nigeria, even across Africa. Besides the failure of leadership, this ammunition proliferation is an overwhelming problem. The outsiders that give us the statistics want Nigeria collapse for their own gain. This is why they always ignore the other side of the story. We should not be complacent as people. We need to widen our analysis and scope. Our enemies are within and outside. Please keep your email coming and I will read them. We have a caller, Tunde. Hello. Hello, Tunde. Hello, Tunde. Are you there? Okay. While we're still waiting for Tunde that we get that call, Cyril Wosu, be prepared for this one.
Okay.
Good morning, Dr. Johnson. I'd like to see a passionate Nigerian as your guest in the studio, but criticize and prefer solutions. Maybe he wrote this one before you started preferring solutions. He is just as guilty as Lai Mohammed when the minister was in opposition. Recriminations will not get us anyway. Good criticism is good as long as it's justifiable and lays with solutions. What do you want to say?
Well, I will ask you in the studio to be my witnesses. Have I provided solutions?
Yeah, you did.
No, everybody. I want everybody to answer. Have I provided solutions?
you provided.
Hear me. Did I provide solutions?
You did.
Did I provide solutions?
Well, you made your solution opinions.
So that's the thing. There is like to say that I only criticize and I don't provide solutions. I mean that's not true. I provide solutions, you know. And what you have to try to understand there is we are in a very critical period in Nigeria. And why am I saying we're in a critical period in Nigeria? Our population is growing at the fastest rate in the whole world. No other country is growing as fast as Nigeria.
Reno, sorry to cut you. We'll continue with you. Okay. We'll have to go on a short break. When we return, we'll continue. Now, we go on a short break. You don't go away. We'll be right back.